book called Food Enzymes for Health and Longevity by Dr. Edward Howell, an MD. In it, we document the impact of destroying enzymes in the Laplanders, the Eskimos. Prior to the advance of the missionaries, the traders, the explorers, they ate all their animal. They ate the whole animal that they slaughtered, and they also never cooked it. And they lived into their 90s and died from acidosis. There was no cancer, no diabetes, no heart conditions. When the Westerners came in there and introduced the cooking, some of the natives adapted the process. The result was 50% drop in longevity. Now, the next generation, instead of living in their 90s, they were dying in their 40s. First time the appearance of cancer and heart conditions. Enzymes are extremely important. So important that, as an example, number one, the degenerative disease that is killing people, it's cardiovascular. Dr. Max Wolf of Fordham University showed 95% of all forms of cardiovascular diseases were treated successfully with enzyme saturation. Number two disease, cancer. Dr. Chinko Kim, again in medical journals, they had 79% success of recovery with 5-year follow-up and survival rate. 79%. How? Treatment with enzymatic saturation again. And these are researches done by MDs, PhDs. Dr. Jeremy Gordon, said that if your cardiologist is not telling you about enzymes, he's not doing you justice, and he lacks in education. He was a cardiologist for 30 years, and he has not lost a single patient due to heart conditions. He had them all on enzymes. That's a simple little thing. You can get it in a pill. Makes a big difference. Besides mostly raw foods, I consume enzymes still with all my meals, because not only do the enzymes participate in the digestive process, according to Dr. Liskovar, medical researchers show that by taking in enzymes within 20 minutes, your immune system goes up over 10 times in activity. It aggressively attacks virus, pathogenic invaders, environmental pollutants, stress factors, tissue breakdown, recycles, rebuilds you much more rapidly. Why not? And all your metabolic activities are driven and participated by one thing. You got over 5,000 different enzyme systems that run your metabolism, your ability to sit in the chair, to listen, to breathe. It's all enzyme dependent. And you're not getting any enzyme because you cooked everything in the pots, in the microwave oven. That's called youthing. It's not only for disease. Guess what? The Olympic stars. Guess what? Like they're doing combat sports. They have found recovery. For instance, in relationship to combat sports like karate, they found that 85% faster recovery from like trauma of sprained ankle or a sprained wrist associated with blows. They have over 60% reduction of inflammatory conditions damage in the combat sport just by taking enzymes. They were able to reduce bench time in football by 50% by having the players take it. Guess how much money that is worth? Remember, you got a key player like Tom Brady. If he's not in the game, hey, And for a whole 2 weeks or something like that for his recovery time, guess what happened? That tendons drops. That's money. It's powerful, the influence of enzymes. Alkalinity. Alkalinity gives you muscle. I worked with Dan O'Brien. Klamath Falls, Oregon. He was striving to compete in the Olympics. And he was working, getting on in age, getting way past this, moving right on to 30. He couldn't work out more than an hour a day. They put him on 3 foods: enzymes, probiotics, and blue-green algae, which is extremely alkalized, and it has 5 times higher chlorophyll content than wheatgrass. Within a period of a month, he was working out 6 to 8 hours a day. He went to the Atlanta Olympics, competed with men 10 years younger than him, and he came home with gold. Nah, this stuff works. But you've got to make some choices. Is it worth it? Maybe not. Who cares? I got other reincarnations to play with. I'll just take it. My days are numbered. But you can have a great influence. It's quality of life. My cousin, she's a few years younger, a year or 2 younger than me. She was 60 when she had 4th stage breast cancer. Oh, everybody was ready to throw surgery, chemo, radiation, all that garbage. I said to her, why don't you come on over to Hippocrates, let's play there, let's have some fun. I said, there's no hurry. I said, that stuff won't get you too quickly. She liked the lifestyle. 10 years later, she has no breast cancer. She looks like she's in her 30s. The lifestyle of rich and famous is available to all. You don't have to be and combination. What you should get into: exercise, prayer, meditation, eating few superfoods like enzymes, blue-green algae, and then eating mostly raw, but just totally remake her body. And I mean, she's a fashion model at 78. And that's not because she went out and got half a dozen belly tucks and facelifts. No, it's all real. Exercise. Get to love motion. So, and it doesn't matter how old you are. One of my friends, Noel Johnson, in his late 50s, he was already moving on, channel surfing for exercise, microwaving for dining, enjoyment, and his kids were going to put him in an old age home. Said, you can't take care of yourself, Dad. And when they started shopping around the old age homes, he says, wow, I don't want to spend the rest of my life with these cronies. I'd rather die. But before he did that, he recalled that exercise was good for you. So he tried, walking, hurt all over. But he kept doing it. Eventually he found health food stores. In those days, that was where people went, before they went to die, they went to the health food store. He thought they mislabeled it. Should have been health foods, he thought. But sure enough, he found a lot of good, interesting books, including my book, Survival in the 21st Century. He put it into practice. I ended up meeting him several years later. When I talked to him on the phone, he sounded like a youngster, giggling, laughing. And he's telling me what he's been doing, now he was in his 80s. He says, oh yeah. He says, I got inspired. He wrote a book. I said, what's the title? Oh, he says, you don't want to know. I said, yeah, I do. He says, the title of the book was Done at 70, Start at 80. That's the possibility. My grandmother, God bless her soul, she didn't want to make lifestyle changes, but so I just kind of forced it on her. Because she had Alzheimer's disease, bedridden, so she couldn't get out of my reach. So I gave her pills. I gave her lutein algae, which is noted to have a major impact on Alzheimer's. I gave her cayenne in capsules for circulation. I gave her a mild herbal laxative, make sure her bowels got evacuated. And I gave her enzymes to make sure the crap that she insisted on eating was going to be digested. Nothing happened for 5 weeks. Then in the 6th week, my mother used to go to work around 2 o'clock in the morning. She ran a bakery. She gets up in the morning to prepare breakfast. Breakfast is already sitting there. And my grandmother with a big grin. My mother, of course, she thought she was hallucinating. My grandmother prepared that meal. Prepared the meal and prepared many meals for quite a few years thereafter. You can jumpstart. He published a paper called 200 Cases of Incurables Treated Successfully with Superfood. It gives you an extra 5-10 years without other lifestyle changes. But if you do lifestyle changes like the Noel Johnson, in his mid-90s, he still was doing marathons, okay? It's a choice. There's no right or wrong or absolutes. You know, it's an adventure. You want some adventure? I was living in Florida for some years. In the parade section was a man on the cover. He was in his mid-80s, totally sculptured. Not an ounce of fat, not a wrinkle on his face. In his 70s, he was drinking cognac on the days, maybe 6-8 shots of espresso a day, smoking those dark cigars. But he was bored, so he thought he'll try hell. Became addicted to it at the gymnasium. The next thing you know, there he was. So you can go out with a bang and fully alive like Paul Brown. He had hit a bad surf, crashed, ended up getting inhalation of water, and then in the hospital, they more or less finished him. But surfing, his whole hair was still there, exercising. And we're seeing more and more what we call seniors, people who are in their 70s, who are leading the lifestyles of previous generation that would have been considered 40s. Because that is the choice that you have. You can make it. So tomorrow, like I said, we're going to get into the details of transforming your life. Just true, like you see me moving my hands. I'm doing energy work on myself. Right now I'm increasing my energetics. I'm spinning my chakras. I'm empowering myself. You'll see by kinesiology. I'll demonstrate it. How empowering this stuff is. Better than Starbucks espresso. It costs you nothing. Just boom, 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 woozy. Just even smiling, having an idiot grin on your face. 300% increase in your immune system function. Those sad faces will get you to the grave as sure as anything, quickly. And you'll have a boring time doing it. So I'm going to leave with a couple thoughts. Many of you are not going to come by tomorrow, and you don't have to. You'll see everything on YouTube for free. But nothing like that group energy participation. And why am I doing this? It's kind of, one is to raise some funds for a memorial that we're building for Ann Wigmore, the one who introduced wheatgrass. Many people have been healed by her, and we still are short on funds. So we'll be doing it on YouTube fundraising. I'm going to Lithuania after this on the 19th of September to do a big celebration there. We're doing it in the Parliament. I'm lecturing with the Olympian Medical Society on enzymatic therapies in relationship to degenerative diseases. The world is open to it. So what can you do? Drink more water, be more physically active, try to keep a good attitude with yourself, eat less, chew more. If you can't chew, blend it, food process. Always, every day, like Dr. Oz on Oprah, not that Oprah ever heard of that. He said, keep your doctor away, stay alkaline. To stay alkaline, have green energy suits, blender, break up some cucumbers, some zucchini, throw in some spinach and other parsley green, throw in an apple for a little sweetness, avocado for a little fat, and you got yourself a great energy soup. It'll feed your microbes. It'll protect you against radiation. And we're going to get a lot of radiation, more and more, as we're getting into the December 23rd, when the solar cycle, solar flares are going to be shooting like crazy. They're already increasing activity, and they're going to mess with your ionosphere, and the ionosphere is not going to be protecting you from the radiation in the cosmos. And in my book, Earth Survival, I already saw all of these things happening. I have studies that were done by United States Army and Navy showing those animals that consume green food survive lethal dosages of radiation. Just like Daniel and his brothers in the Bible. They danced in a fire. They hung out with the lights. Nobody bugs you. Go green and you stay clean. So, a little more green stuff every day. Do something nice for everybody, especially for yourself. Love yourself and love others as yourself. Always give that, taking care of that priority, because the more you take care of priority, the more love you will have to give to others. And you won't have a BO, you won't have all the other complications of having an intimate relationship. Remember, at this day and era, one of the most popular recreational drugs among teenagers is Viagra. You wonder why? I thought that was for the elders. Well, sad to say, our young chronologically individuals are biologically old men, old women. We got to help our youngsters by example, by leadership. We got to preserve our genetic food. So, check me out tomorrow. Either you want to come here or visit us on the internet and send some donations. See if you're in a position, in other words, skip a couple Starbucks shots. Shoot it down our way. I love you. Thank you. I'll answer a few questions if you would like that.
No, yeah, I asked her how old you are.
I'm in my mid-70s. Now you want to know how old is my girlfriend?